Here's a data sufficiency problem. Even if you've never seen one of these problems before, pause the video and try and solve it yourself before continuing. Use your logic and guesswork to choose one of the answers A through E that fits the situation best. The name of the game here is data sufficiency. And we know what data is. It's information. These are our two pieces of information. We'll call them statements. As for the word sufficiency, we can see that it's used in the answer choices. A simpler word for sufficient is enough. And that's our task, to see whether the information is enough. Well, enough for what? Enough to answer the question here. Then we've got the answer choices, which remain the same for every data sufficiency problem. We need to work out which combination of the statements is or isn't sufficient. Looking briefly, we might think that the two statements together give us the answer. That would be C. After all, each statement gives information about one of the jobs. And it's true, if we take the two statements together, we could answer the question. However, the correct choice isn't C, and there are a few clues. First of all, know that the GMAT is trying to trick you, so any answer that seems obvious could be a trap. Second, notice how we didn't use the information given to us at the beginning of the problem about how the plumber calculates the charge or that the two jobs took 7 hours in total. Let's slow down and investigate the problem step by step. I'm going to look at statement 1 on its own. If I know that the plumber charged $92 for one job, then it means that job took 4 hours or less. Since the jobs took 7 hours together, then the other job took 3 hours or more. This introduces an uncertainty. Perhaps both jobs took around 3.5 hours, so they were charged at $92 each. Alternatively, perhaps the first job, the $92 one, took just 1 hour, so that the second job took 6 hours and cost more than $92. Given statement 1, we don't know exactly how much the plumber charged for the second job, and therefore we don't have enough information to answer the question. Statement 1 alone is not sufficient. Let's pause here and try to eliminate some answers. It can't be answer A, which says that statement 1 alone is sufficient. It could be answer B. It could be answer C. It can't be answer D. And it could be answer E. If statement 1 alone is not sufficient, I can eliminate answers A and D. I use this elimination grid to help myself here, but more about that later. Let's investigate statement 2 on its own. If the plumber charged $138 for one job, then it means that job was charged at the plumber's per hour rate and took 4 hours or more. This means the other job took less than 3 hours and cost $92. Statement 2 gives us enough information to calculate the total amount charged by the plumber. It's sufficient. Notice that we don't actually need to calculate the numerical answer for data sufficiency questions. We just need to say whether we have enough information to do so. This is good news for people with rusty math skills. However, in some cases, such as this one, and maybe in our practice, it might help to clarify things to work out the numerical answer. Notice that 138 divided by 23 is 6, so that the $138 job took 6 hours and the other job took just 1 hour. Statement 2 alone is sufficient. Let's look at the answers again. E says that the statements are not sufficient. Well, that's not true. And even though the first part of answer choice C, the part about both statements together being sufficient, is true, the second part of answer C is not true. And therefore, the correct answer for this problem is B. As well as applying the good problem-solving skills of taking time to understand the situation, breaking it down into simple steps, and watching out for traps, here's a strategy to help you. Write down the answer choices in a grid like this, A, D, B, C, E, on your paper for every data sufficiency problem that you solve. Remember that the answer choices are always in the same order for data sufficiency problems. You'll have them memorized after practicing a few more problems. Analyze statement 1 first. If it's not sufficient, as in the problem we just did, we can eliminate answers A and D. If statement 1 is sufficient, then we can eliminate the bottom row, B, C, E. I strongly recommend training yourself to use this grid in your practice. It helps you stay on track as you solve problems step by step. It helps avoid careless errors, and it prepares you for taking strategic guesses on harder problems. Check out the link below for a follow-up task.